Previously on the Frontier Farmer. Look out, Artemus, back at the homestead with all of our equipment. Right, let's get this all sprayed up. And there we go, that was very quick. Right, so we have a few stumps here to clear. Right, that's dropped off there. So let's get all the other big bags dropped off in this storage yard. Last bag of lime going in. Now I'm going to have to probably do 2 loads. And that's the second partial load of silage. Now I think the area we are going to clear is that behind the silage bunker. So let's head on in and cut down our first tree. So I have cut down quite a sizable section of the forest. Next time we should be able to get the logs in our wood storage yard and then load them up to take them for sale. Hello everyone and welcome back to the Frontier Farmer at the Dark Forest. Starting off by the wood area this morning, and if you recall last time we cut down an area of trees in this section here. Now I have been busy since last time de-limbing all of the logs and clearing out all of the stumps, so we are all clear now to come in here with the skidder and winch these logs into our log storage area. Before I do, it's nice to see that the sorghum is growing strong and also the oats in the field next to it. So I think July is when we can first harvest one of the crops. Let's check which one. Yes, so our oats should be ready in July, so next month, and then our sorghum will be ready in August, and we did plant them in the earliest stage we could, so they should hopefully be ready to harvest in the earlier stage as well. Right, so we need to jump in the skidder first thing this morning, and you might notice that I have moved the silage bunker out of the way just so we've got a clear run up to our wood storage yard. Let's hop in the TAF TBS, the rather old skidder that we've got. It is old but a bit of a beast, this thing. So our first mission for this morning is going in and winching out all of these logs. They are of differing sizes, lengths and widths, because there's all sorts of different trees that we've cut down in here. But yeah, main aim of this morning is really just winching all of these up. So we'll reverse up to one. Pop out, we can attach the winch like so, and then we can drive on in to our little wood storage yard. If we line up correctly, we should just be able to drive up here. We can drive through the spot which is where we load the logs. They get deposited in that little concrete bay and we lift them up. There we go. And then we should be able to press the trigger and store the wood. There we go. So we have 30,000 litres in there already. Be interesting to see how much we get by the end. But I'm going to get busy winching all of these logs into our storage area, and I'll see you when we're done. And there we are. Just a little sweep of the area, see if there are any logs that we have forgotten. But I think this is the last cluster, and we've been able to shift some large and also some small clusters. It's really dependent on which logs are near each other. And I've not going to use it on this run, but on previous runs I've tried to use those two little concrete blocks to line the trees up quite nicely with the loading zone. But yeah, when we have big clumps of logs, they don't really fit in between those two concrete areas, but nonetheless it still works. So let's get these added too, and there we go. That's all of our wood collected up and now in the log and wood storage yard. 219,000 litres of wood. Wow, that's pretty magnificent. And of course our workshop has been wearing away whilst we've been depositing the wood to cut it down to size and to stack it nice and neatly. And all of this is due to the fact that we are running older equipment. We don't have modern forestry machines, so chopping down the trees, delimbing them and cutting them to length all is quite a tricky process. So the wood storage yard really does help us speed up that task. But the skidder has done a fantastic job winching and pulling all of those logs out of there. It's pretty beefy and is well up to the task. And what's also handy is the front and back offer quite a good platform for shunting logs as well. The log physics is always a little bit tricky, so being able to shove them where you need to be is always quite handy. And the winch works pretty well as well. So let's just get this parked up and switched off. Super duper. This area is now clear. And I think the plan for this area is, once again, to make another field, and this will be our biggest field yet. And that's because we are probably going to have to sacrifice either our first or second field to make space for some more yard and production areas. So I'm thinking possibly field number 2, after the sorghum's been harvested, we will have to sacrifice this field for making space for more productions, but that's okay because it's a bit of a yard anyway. We also have this little green patch over here as well. Right, I've hopped in the Volvo because we are going to need this for loading our logs onto the truck log trailer. And I think for this setup, using the ramp and the wood storage yard, this log shovel is actually the best in our inventory. We have 2 other log grabs which we've been testing out. One is the rather big one to the right, and then one is the smaller one in front. And I think I prefer using this one the most. Just seems to carry the right amount of logs that the Volvo can take the weight of, and seems to have the best angle for pitching and dropping them into the trailer, assisted by our ramp, of course. Right, so we want to just perch in front of our wood storage yard, and we can get 6 logs dropped off. So wood logs, and we want 6 of the finest, thank you. And that's 11,000 litres odd. And it works out that we can fit about 12 in each compartment of the trailer. There's 2 compartments, so we can do 24 logs at a time, which is pretty good. We just want to shove ourselves in here. That's it. And typically we grab about 3 at a time. There we go, that's 3. One's a bit on the edge, so try and tilt them in a little bit. That should be okay. Right. Let's get this first load in the trailer, and then we'll get a full trailer or 2 over to the sell point at the distribution centre, and at which point we are probably going to be looking to upgrade our plough, not by much, but something that's slightly bigger, so we've got the ability to plough that field that we've just cleared of logs into our 3rd field. So I'm going to get these all loaded up, and I'll see you when we're done. Phew! Well, that is the second load all loaded, and it wasn't without its own little issues. But let's get in the Lizard IFA and start her up. Now these are heavy loads, so I do have to take it a little bit slow in parts on the old country track. We will creep out of the homestead and see the tyre marks from last time because of how heavy the truck and trailer is. And we got around 29,000 for the first load of logs, so I'm hoping for another 29,000 for the second load, and then that's going to give us enough money to swap plows, and it's also going to give us enough money for next time to buy a harvester, because our oats should be ready, and then soon after our sorghum will be ready. Right, I'm just creeping down this section because there is a bit of a tilt. But once we are over that, we can stick our foot down and carry on down the track to the distribution centre. There we go. Where it's flat, we can gather up a bit of pace. We have to take it a bit easier where we are going to be turning, because it does like to lean, this trailer. Much more stable than the one we had before, though. There we go, another 29,000. So the bank balance is looking good once more. Did get a little bit low after we had to make some expenditures previously, but it's nice to top it up. Right, we need to get the trailer back to the homestead and then bring the farm all back up here, swap our plows over and get on to ploughing that field, which I'd quite like to do whilst we've got a bit of time left this afternoon. Back round we go, and we can park the trailer up ready for the next load. We have 130,000 litres left in there, so we sold a good chunk, but we've got a good chunk remaining. Here she is. Doesn't get used much for logging anymore. The winch has sort of served its purpose that goes on the back of the farm, but it still will be handy for doing all of the farm jobs that we need to. Right, I need to get that stone bucket out of the way and grab the old plough so we can trade it in. There we go. We can take this to get sold and might actually service up the tractor whilst we're down there. Certainly do love our days in the dark forest. Right, here we are at the distribution centre, so let's get the old plough sold, the tractor repaired and purchase our new one. So we managed to get around $1,800 for our old plough. And in its place we are going to be buying this Lizard F Pullock 5. It takes 75 horsepower to run and it is 2 meters, so it's about 0.6 meters wider than our previous plough. Doesn't sound like much, but it's going to help us, and that is 10,000, so we are going to go ahead and buy that. Here it is, and straight away you can see that it is bigger, and it's right on the limits of the horsepower for this tractor. Takes 75 and this farm is 80, so we will see how it performs, but I'm sure it's going to do a good job. Right, we want to get back to that new area and start ploughing it up. Approaching our new area, and I'm going to have to go around the border, the headland first, to set a good shape for our field, and want to make sure I leave a good enough boundary that we're not going to be colliding with any of the trees. So I think we'll start somewhere around here, just so we're in a good position. So we want to allow create fields and lower our plough away. There we go. The rocks are going to appear, of course. Oh, we are skidding a little bit, but hopefully we'll get a bit of traction soon. Right, unfortunately it seems like there's a bit of a traction issue. So I'm just going to raise up and I'm going to see about swapping the front wheels of this tractor to something a little bit different, back to the tricycle, as that might be that the plough is a little bit low on the back, so changing the wheels at the front might just help. And I've set up a workshop here just so we could quickly swap the wheels over. There we go, we are back to the tricycle on the front. That might help, that might not. If it doesn't, we are going to have to see about a different plough, which is a shame because I thought this one was going to work with the horsepower certainly should. It's just the plough is potentially a little bit too low on the 3-point linkage for us to get any decent traction. Like, unfortunately not. So we are going to have to abandon that plan of the plough, take it back to the distribution centre and see if we can swap it out for a different one that is going to work. Right, so we've purchased a different but very similar plough. I think it is of the same variety, but it's a slightly different version. And I've done a bit of testing and this looks to work quite well. So it is the Lizard Standard Puddle. Yeah, sounds very similar to the one we bought, but it does work. And unfortunately we lost around $1,200 from buying the previous one and selling that. This one was a little bit cheaper, so we've not lost out too much. And this one is 2 meters as well, and I think takes slightly less horsepower. But we will give it a whirl and see how we get on. Right, attempt number 2. We will look to continue where we left off, and if we lower away, we should start to plough up this area. Yep, that is much better. It's running nice and smoothly. So let's come around for the first part of our headland. Well, we're actually making pretty good pace with this plough. So I'll be using the same routine as I did before. We'll go around, create the border of our field, and then I will go row side to side and turn all of the ground in towards the centre of the field. And we're not going to have enough time to do it today, but we will have to come and stone pick once we have got this all ploughed, and we'll probably have to leave that for next session if we're not too busy harvesting. Hopefully our oats are going to be ready then. So I'm going to get this all done, and I'll see you when we're finished. This is the last little slither of our brand new field. Field number 3 of the homestead, and it is our largest. Fantastic. So it does stretch quite far down there, and I'd say it's probably the size of field number 1 and field number 2 combined. Now this slightly bigger plough did make the job a little bit easier, but still not grand in terms of equipment size, so it was a fair old job. And I have noticed that the service indicator has gone right down to the red. But I can't tell at the moment if that's the plough or if that's the farm wall. We will have to take a look and see. So let's get this over to our new little workshop point, which is actually very convenient. It's going to help us. It means we won't have to go to the distribution centre to get repaired, and it means we can learn a bit more about mechanics of our own little tractor. So let's take a look and see what's going on. So it is the plough, and that needs quite an expensive repair. So we will repair it. But yeah, it seemed like it went all the way down to bad condition from just ploughing that field, which is very, very interesting. There we go, plough dropped off. And we can put the farm all to bed as well. And I'm actually quite pleased that we managed to go back to the tricycle, the front wheel in the middle. That looks much better, has a slightly better character than the other two wheels. So it's been a busy day. We winched all of the logs from our new area into the wood storage yard. We took 2 trailer loads to the distribution centre and got that sold. And then we had to do a bit of plough swapping to get that new area all ploughed up. But it'd be nice to put a crop in that once we've harvested our oats and our sorghum. That is it for today. I hope you have enjoyed watching. If you have, remember to drop a like and subscribe. But that's it for today on the Frontier Farmer, and I look forward to seeing you again next time. Cheers all, and bye bye.